Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about Ben, he's got vision with precision, microphones and a tinkle of derision. You're about to hear what beer can be. It's time for Barley and me.
Welcome to Barley and Me. I'm your host, Ben Rice. We're here today at Art of Beer 2020. We're in 2020. That's insane.
It's amazing.
2020. It is clear-sighted 2020.
It's like, I got pictures of my phone from here from like 2015.
Yeah, it's gross. Time is a flat circle and terrifying. Anyway, this is our first interview at Art of Beer. We're starting off strong. We've got DarkHeart Brewing, which just opened a few months ago. With us today, we got Cynthia Lee.
Our Cynthia Lee here at the helm.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Trish Showen.
Yes.
And also a special guest, Scott Mills.
Why, hello there.
So, Trish, you're an artist, and you're also associated with DarkHeart?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, tell me a little bit about that. What's going on?
They asked for a couple of different commissioning paintings for a great cause, and I figured, what the heck? I'll throw my name in the hat and see if we can raise some money for the foundation. I've been with DarkHeart for, what would I say, like almost 2 years now. Beginning of construction, actually work in the tap room. Easy people to work with, great people to work with.
Yeah. And Cynthia, we've met. We did the Queen of Beer 2 years ago.
Yes.
And since then, you've since opened DarkHeart, which we were talking about a little bit on that episode. How is it going at DarkHeart?
You know, it is amazing. I cannot believe that was actually 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I finally resurfaced.
Technically, I guess it's only a year and then a few months.
Yeah, it seems like a lot longer.
But yeah, time, again, like I said, time doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
we
it was
have
great.
no idea how it works.
Was great. So we did a lot of construction in the meantime, and now it is finally about the beer and building our community, and super exciting to be able to be a part of this.
September?
Yes, we opened up Labor Day weekend.
Yes, okay.
Yes, technically Labor Day weekend.
I know
super
how time
fun.
works. Again, I don't have any clue. Is it going pretty good for you guys?
You know, it is absolutely great. It's really fun. We've kind of become a community center for our environment. There's nothing around us.
Right.
So
There's no competition, and you have so many cool spaces within your space.
it is very fun.
Yeah.
Lots of birthday parties, couple celebrations of life.
Yeah, very well received within the community. They're excited to have something that's more local to them.
Yeah.
And everyone seems very open and comfortable, and they say it's a very inviting space. So it's not too encroaching on anything else, but everyone feels like they can just come and hang out and have a beer, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's one of the best uses of space I've ever seen in a brewery, too.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
I mean,
Yeah,
very
thank you.
inclusive. There's different areas for different types of conversations or parties or hanging out and everything.
There's the brewing area where you can hang out. There's like right by the bar. There's like upstairs area. There's an outdoor area. There's so many places you could be like, this isn't really my scene, but like 20 feet away, that's your scene.
Yes. Well, it's
Exactly.
fun. We've had like first dates. It was kind of fun. And then they come back again and we're like, oh, it's working out. We have love in the brewery, which is really sweet.
And I suppose we could introduce Scott. You may remember Scott from my first Art of Beer episode, closing it out strong.
Because Scott does not remember it.
I don't. We can listen to it. There's evidence that it existed. But Scott, you're a beer guy about town.
Yeah, it seems everybody knows me. I seem to know everybody. I go to all the breweries, and I've known Sin for a few years now, and you, and just about everybody.
Yeah.
Every brewery event I go to, like Art of Beer and everything, you know, people walking in the door, hey, how's it going? Giving them hugs and everything. I love the industry. It's great.
Yeah.
It's been amazing for the brief moment that I've been at least involved in it within the last couple of years. It's definitely like more of a family environment
Absolutely.
than a lot of strangers coming to work together. So whenever you do an event like this, it's a lot of people who have met with each other at different events, and people have become to kind of form a very nice bond with everybody. So it's like someone we were just speaking with, it was like 95% of the people that you're going to meet today are people that you're going to be able to form friendships with within the industry going forward, even just attending to the event versus being an actually brewer. So it's really cool so far.
Yeah.
I was talking to other volunteers tonight and everything, and I told them if you want to be in the industry and know people and just have a good time and thing, volunteer at events. You volunteer at events, you get to know everybody, you get to know the vendors and the reps and the brewers and everything, and it's all one big family, actually.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's 8:05 when we started this. This thing started at 5:30. I've been trying to get people like, here's how I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in 2.5 hours of just like, because you just get stuck in conversations over and over again. Like, I love you, but I need to leave. I have a business. It doesn't make any money, but I have a business. Do you mind?
Don't worry, we're right there with you.
Doesn't that?
Yeah, right. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
It's like everybody knows there's money in beer. Then you talk to people like, it's just you just give more money to your business.
Oh yeah,
just
but,
It's supposed to be profitable. Oh, okay.
It is,
Yeah.
but I think that's the one thing that really took me kind of off guard. Coming from a volunteer thing, we started out 10 years ago volunteering at events and doing things, and meeting everybody growing up, and then Mike Moraz, he was homebrewers with us, and we've all kind of grown up. Teresa from Cricket Laine,
Yes.
we've kind of all gone through and done these things. But there really is this amazing community, this pulling together, not just for great events like Make-A-Wish, but in general. I mean, people come to our brewery and they're like, oh, I really like sours. You don't have any sours. I'm like, hey, you know what? Go see Miraz. Go see, this brewery, that brewery. It's so nice that we have this cohesive family. It's just sweet.
Yeah, and if you're at an event like this one, if you're missing a part on your jockey box or something, and another brewery, hey, you have mine, and that's the way it is around here.
Yeah, in no other industry do you get that.
Yeah,
right?
they're like, no, you're fend for yourself. Fuck off. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
Like,
I've jumped in and there's been times where, you've been there and you see somebody's booth unattended and you're like, oh heck no, we've got extra people. We're going to go rep for them.
Because you don't know if this is a person who you're talking to's first experience with craft beer.
Right.
And you don't want to have them have a bad experience with it. So you're like, I want to help my friends because you don't know if that's their person there is the first person experiencing this. So it's like you have to. And it's like the only industry that does that.
Absolutely.
And Scott, you're a secret MVP of Barley and Me. Do you want to tell the story, or should I tell the story?
Go ahead and tell the story.
Scott Mills being secret MVP of Barley and Me. Long-time listeners, short-time listeners, whatever you may know, every 25 episodes I do a video episode. And on episode 100, got a pretty big score.
Yep.
Got a Sierra Nevada on board.
Ooh, very
To
cool.
do a video
Nice.
episode at Sierra Nevada. And I had a dream guest. I knew exactly who I wanted to have guest on this podcast. And they have social media, but they don't really use it, And so I was like, I'm going to friend them. I'm going to send them a friend request. Nothing. Oh, I'll just Instagram. They're like, nope, sorry, private thing. I got to approve you. I'm like, just nothing. Somebody's like, and so I'm like, okay, I really want this guest. And I talked to somebody like, oh, I'm going to visit this person this weekend. I'm like, great, can you put in a good word for me? Nothing. Forgets about it. Over and over again, this is happening to me. Like, I need to secure this. I need to secure this guest. And so I was just at Fort Rock, hanging out. We were talking. I'm like, I'm doing this Sierra Nevada episode. I'd really love to have Judy Ashworth be the guest. That would be like my dream because they like kind of grew up together, Like that's the history of craft beer in one room. That's so exciting. And then Scott, you said something to me that was very
I
strange.
laughed and I said, okay, give me your email and I'll get back to you in a day or two, because I actually work with her son.
Yeah.
So I've met her several times. The California Craft Brew State Fair and everything. They gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award. Her whole family was there. I worked with her son and everything, so I knew how to get a hold of her and everything.
Very cool.
And I just gave my coworker your email, and I said, hey, can you give your mom this, have your mom give this guy an email and everything? And what was it, a day later, 2 days later?
It was a day or two later. I was like driving through the middle of nowhere, and I get a phone call from this number I don't recognize. And it's Judy Ashworth, like, tell me about this podcast. She's like, it sounds great. Let's do it. And that's how I got her to be a guest. And it's like the best thing that ever happened. So thank you,
It's
Scott.
good to know people.
No problem.
Like, I had people that, like, I'm going to go hang out with her this weekend that would just forget. And I'm
Yeah.
like, God, I can't get this guest. It's like impossible. I can't find a way to get in contact with her. He's like, oh, I got it. I'm like, what?
So yeah, and that's why I say volunteer at these events. You get to know everybody. I do 10, 15 brew fests a year, and you just get to know everybody eventually. And I'm a very social person, so I go around and just meet people and everything. It just happened to be a coworker's mother.
Yeah.
But to pimp this event again, Art of Beer, this is one of the very few events I've seen where there's so many owners here, head brewers here. I mean, the brew celebrities came out tonight.
Like, literally, the reason I have a video every 25th episode is because of Art of Beer.
Yeah.
I met Sean O'Sullivan from 21st
awesome.
Amendment.
It's always great.
And he came and did a quick episode, and he's like, this was a lot of fun. We should do a full episode at 21st Amendment. We should do something bigger than a podcast. And then I had a brother-in-law that was like, well, I'm getting into videography. Maybe we could do a video. And so that's how that, like, it's just stupid. It's just like dumb luck. And then Sean's like, that sounds great. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so now it's like every year I do a video. And I go out of pocket like an idiot, and I lose money, and I hemorrhage it. We all know about hemorrhaging money in your business. I'm going to grow this brand, and every day it's just like less listens. But like, we do it. I wrote DarkHeart artist MVP.
That's
I'm just a
awesome.
guy.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime you want to do a video at DarkHeart, we'll bring the pirates out for you.
Yeah,
We will have a
absolutely.
raging, crazy time.
That's nuts. Yeah, because you guys are a pirate-themed brewery.
We are a pirate-themed brewery.
Are
Yes.
you doing classic styles as well?
We do, and we
bring
do
out-
things that like people don't do. We're a little bit more malt forward.
Yes.
A little bit more English style. And we have, we heavies. We have dark Irish reds. We have
For those high
an
Cs.
80 shilling.
Right.
Things like that are just a little bit different. It's just who we are. So
Right.
yeah,
It
Out
fits the
next week,
theme.
by the way.
yeah, absolutely.
The 80 shilling?
The 80 shilling now.
80
next week.
shilling.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's great to see because like that market kind of it exists. It's just a small little market, but you also have the local market where there's really no competition around you. It's very cool. Space is very cool.
Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Yeah,
It's
and then you have a
fun
theme
thing.
like you're set.
I think it's something incredibly romantic, especially when you get lucky enough to have both Cynthia and Rick there and available to talk, because most of the time they're both in the back kind of grinding away. But the chance that you get the opportunity to really talk to them about their beers and what they're making out there is just something exciting to watch, because they definitely light up in that atmosphere. Is where they kind of share their passion with a lot of the customers that come in who are just enjoying the beverage, and then Rick really kind of dives into all of his different ideas and how they got it there and how they took it to the next level. So it's more than just enjoying a pint. It's actually experience the passion of somebody that's really being put into this beverage that you're drinking and enjoying it. And that's what they're there for. They're not there for it for the hype and the fame. They're there because this is something that they love to do. And it's very apparent at the brewery that they've built, and along with the customer base that they're building and all the people that they have kind of backing them. So it's really, really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very thrilled that you guys are out
Well
there.
said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like
Oh, Lord,
professional.
making me cry.
I wrote that one down.
Yeah, she's got a big legal
Thank God
pad
for that
out
damn
here
teleprompter. Yeah.
reading from a script. She's like, and
Why is that Cindy's handwriting?
If it was my handwriting, you couldn't read it.
she's saying this Trish, your name's
my
going to be
gosh,
butchered so
that's
bad.
awesome.
But so you were doing some artist in residence type stuff. What did you get for Art of Beer? What did you create?
We actually kind of took the idea of like, all right, let's go pirate themed. Let's kind of put some fun spin onto it. So we did a Kraken that was kind of encasing a keg barrel. That kind of, we can make up different stories of it falling off of a pirate ship at the top of the sea, and this Kraken's like, oh, this shit's mine. Taking this one down home.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was awesome.
Very cool, thank you.
Yeah.
And it took on a little bit more of a cartoony aspect to it, so it's not a very traditional Kraken. It's kind of more of like what you would see down like in a cartoon, so it's kind of cartoonesque.
Released the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. Everybody love a Kraken.
And then there's, I assume, a corresponding beer for this art. I don't know if that's true. I'm just going to put you on the
Ooh,
spot.
you need to release the Kraken beer.
Oh,
we'll
yes,
see.
we do.
We'll come up with something.
It's like it's the release, the Kraken release. This is too many releases.
Well,
Yes.
it's nice though. The Crone beer that we did, Captain Crone, actually has Kraken in it. It's one of the rums that we put in this. So we
Okay.
put 5 different rums,
So
8
you've-
pounds of raisins, and we boiled this stuff down and then put it inside a barrel, and then took it out. It's pretty amazing, and it's our commemorative beer for a dear friend of ours that was here last year at Art of Beer that passed of brain cancer. Super great guy, wonderful person in the beer community, and we know that he's looking down there and wishing he could have some because it's amazing.
It is a beautiful, beautiful stout if you get a chance to try it, and it was something very well done.
Beautiful.
Yeah, lots of smoky nuances, and just makes you feel like you're on the high seas longing for home.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Tammy had the opportunity to. Did she try it before we?
She has not. No. I was hoping she'd be able to make it tonight, but she was unable, unfortunately, to be here.
But the idea of it was very heartwarming to her, and she totally embraced what they were trying to kind of portray, and she appreciated it, and he was a very dear friend to Rick and Cynthia.
I think the barrel that we actually used was Angel's Envy, and it's really cool because if you go into the store and you look at Angel's Envy, you look through the bottle and there's a set of wings that you see. So it was just really amazing. She's like, "Can we use some of this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we'll get a barrel. We'll be good." Yeah. So super fun,
beautiful stout.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. So where can people find you guys? DarkHeart Brewing.
DarkHeart, we're 4339 Auburn Boulevard in Sacramento, right between American River College. We've got Orange Grove and the
Highway 80.
Yep, right off it.
Yeah,
if
you're looking for us
events in Foothill Veterinarian Center.
Oh.
If you're looking for us on social media, it's just DarkHeart Brewing on Facebook, and also on Instagram, it's DarkHeart Brewing. It's one word.
Keep it consistent.
Keep it consistent.
That's the secret. You don't have those multiple accounts with different things. It's a disaster every time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did that one the first time. I got my personal accounts messed up with the other units.
Yeah.
Thank God we've got Trish. In addition to an amazing artist, she also does like a social media and other things.
It's
so.
like, don't be dumb.
Jack of
Don't
all
be dumb.
trades.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Scott Mills, do you have anything people can follow you on? This is private sector. Do you have any social media you want to plug?
No, I just have my own Facebook and Instagram like anybody else.
Yeah, like a human being would do.
Yeah, I'm just me.
And
I think it's amazingguy.com. Is that what it is?
Oh. Yeah. That might bring you to another site, though.
It's brewcelebrity.com.
Yeah, yes, right. Oh, that beer guy with two A's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah. You guys have been wonderful. I wish you nothing but the best success. I
Thank
love
you
your
for sharing
venue.
some time
You guys
with
are
us.
doing great stuff. Cynthia Lee, thank you so much. Trish
you.
Showen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Scott Mills.
Thank you for having us.
Go get out there. Art of Beer
Yeah,
2020.
my beer's empty, so
Yeah.
gotta go.
Oh,
Cheers.
I do have a special gift if anybody's interested.
Yes.
It's a Demon's Run Vanilla Coconut Imperial Stout from
Oh,
Urban
hit me.
Roots. This was their
Absolutely.
special brew they did for the little festival or whatever they're doing here, the special tastings. They had 2 bottles left, so they kept one for themselves and gave one to me.
Very nice.
So pretty cool.
That is inky, beautiful blackness there.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not going to pour any for myself because I've already had some, and
smells
it's
quite
it's a lot to deal with.
Oh, my
Ooh,
Lord.
that's tasty.
Smells good.
Shouts to Peter Hoey from Urban Roots for keeping me in mind and getting me this sweet, sweet bottle to get to my
Well,
guests.
Cheers.
well
Yes,
done.
thank you.
Cheers, so
Cheers, friends. To make a wish.
make dreams come true.
Oh, good.
And scene.
Welcome back to Barley and Me. I'm still your host, Ben Rice. We're still here at Art of Beer 2020. With me today, I got Laine Ruona from Almanac Brewing.
Hey.
How's it going? I got that name right?
Yeah, nailed it. Nailed the pronunciation. That's rare.
I'm fucking great. Because I screwed up the last person's person I didn't know in advance.
Hey, as long as you got me right, you're good.
Exactly. I'm going to do some editing on the first one. Not on this one. Got it right. Maybe I'll cut it this part where I confirm that I'm right. But we'll never know. We'll find out when I get to it. And also, we got Chris Smith from South Lake Brewing.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
And then if you guys want to
do
give me
it.
your titles, you can, but you don't have to. We all.
Yeah, what are titles are...
Yeah.
whatever. It's just beer.
What did somebody else give you? You know?
Right.
Ugh.
Chris Smith, owner, head janitor over here at Salt Lake Brewing Company.
That joke never gets old.
Heard it a few times, and I'm living it every day.
Yeah. So how's it working out for you?
It's been well. We're going on our third year anniversary here shortly in April, and it's been great. It's a whirlwind. Lake Tahoe is a little bit of a different creature than what you get here in probably
Yeah.
Sacramento, and
Right.
yeah, it's we're just kind of learning the art of craft brewing in the mountains.
Yeah, and it's a tourist town. So you got a bunch of people like, I don't know what craft beer is. People like, I'm super into craft beer, and you got to cater to both of them.
Totally. Yeah, we were the first ones brewing hazy IPAs there in South Lake Tahoe, and it was probably 4 or 5 years after this whole big hazy IPA shindig went down, and we were still new to it, which was kind of cool, but we were also teaching our customers what a hazy IPA was.
Yeah, it's
fun.
It never ends. Even if you have like a local, they're still like, I don't understand what this thing is that you've given me.
Yeah, I mean it presents challenges, but it also allows us to be the first into market with a lot of cool trends that are happening, and then we also get to put our tweak on it. So if we're brewing hazy IPAs there in Tahoe, we're kind of giving it our own little nod. We're in Tahoe, people like drier beers, they like more refreshing beers, so our hazy IPAs kind of turned into that, and people enjoy it.
Yeah. And then I imagine Almanac has its own struggle with
yeah.
the souring process. So how do you get somebody like, hey, this is a stout, Guinness. Now imagine if there's like a weird tartness to it.
Yeah. Hey, try this.
And then, yeah.
No, it's been great. And Almanac's entire history has been one of adaptation.
Yeah.
So the fact that people still recognize us as a sour producer. But to be now 2 years running in Alameda with our own facility.
Right on the water. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kind of poke your head out the door and look down the street and see downtown San Francisco from there. But surprisingly, 70% of what we're doing are fresh beers, non-sours.
Yep. It's hard for me in my head. I know that, but I still I
Right.
so love your sours that I can't stop.
And I love being able to present our non-sour lineup and kind of blow people's minds in that way. And it's been great. I mean, 2018, when we opened this facility, to go from 8,000 barrels of beer and then into 2019 and almost going 80% up into 14,000 is insane. And it's been great. It's been a lot of fun to be able to present those products and to, again, use the term blow people's minds. Yeah. Hey, here's what you think we're known for, and here, check this out.
It's like, yeah, we have a home now. We can do anything we want.
We can do whatever we want and have full control over it, really for the first time in our existence. Turns out pretty darn good.
Yeah, and it's a massive space.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go from like, we'll use what spare spot you have to like this massive area.
And we've got room to grow.
Yeah.
In a lot of cool ways.
Yeah. What about you? How's your space over there at South Lake?
We've got a 6,000 square foot tap room and brewery. So at first it seemed really large. For town. We're filling it up at a drastic pace. The thing that it's very difficult in Tahoe because there's snow all the time.
Yeah.
And with that, snow load on a building creates a whole engineering challenge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of buildings that are very much smaller than us that we were looking at, and we're so glad we didn't go into them because we'd be running out of space right now. And we still got a little bit of space to grow into, but it's a whole nother challenge, looking at basically an industrial process in Tahoe, which has always been tourist driven, is a whole nother challenge.
Yeah.
It's something that we're dealing with on a constant basis.
Now, were you brewing commercially somewhere else before you started at South Lake?
No. So actually I was going to school for engineering and tried the engineering route and decided that after homebrewing, let's give it a rip. Let's go brew back in hometown.
Yeah.
And
you're like, I don't know enough about engineering to like make a brew. I can make a brewery with what I know. I can lay it out. I can make it all work out properly. I imagine that's what your thought process was, but maybe I'm wrong.
Everyone can do it.
Yeah,
anyone can do it. That's what I've heard.
Right.
Then I tried it, and I'm garbage. I am. It's like there's a step-by-step rule book, and I'm like, I think I did it. It's terrible. It's really undrinkable swill. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went from a materials engineering background, project engineer, right before we opened the brewery, to head janitor, head facilities maintenance. So that's what I'm doing on a daily basis. I'm fixing toilets that break. I'm fixing brewery drains that clog. I'm really working on issues at a weird level that you don't expect as going into owning a brewery.
Yes.
Totally different aspect. And where Almanac is doing, several thousand barrels a year, we just broke 1,500 barrels this year. So we're 10% of what Almanac's doing.
Yeah.
But going back to kind of when you started up this conversation, beer and people and where we come from, what's crazy is to kind of take a snapshot, 5 years ago, Chris and I actually met working at Firestone Walker in Paso Robles.
Oh,
You were there with your engineering degree at Cal Poly, right?
Totally. Yep.
And my wife was at Cal Poly. And I had moved down there kind of, hey, I like this girl. Let's like figure out what's going on. And, beer. Like, I can get into that. So I was bartending at their tap room. Chris, you were managing the...
Yeah, I just went from events and marketing and going around and dragging a trailer of Firestone Walker beer everywhere to events, and started managing one of their little retail outlets, and had just finished engineering school and had actually met Laine.
Yeah.
So you like fell in love with like the culture, the world that it was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just... In this industry, you meet people
And
that
it's like-
you would never expect to stay in touch with over the years.
Yeah.
And to now flash forward to
Yeah.
2020. And
Because Paso Robles is, what, 7.5 hours away? And now you're up here?
more or less, 5.5.
Yeah.
I don't know.
5.5
Whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Potato,
Yeah.
potato.
Yeah.
Depends on how many breweries you're stopping at.
To be fair, I'm always off by 2 hours when it comes to traveling south.
Done.
I'm like,
So you're
traffic is
right
all-
on point.
I like to leave on Friday afternoons. I'm like, it's so far. Like, if you leave on like a Wednesday afternoon, it's totally fine. I'm like, well, what about 5 o'clock on a Friday? That's when
Yeah.
I do my travel, like an idiot.
Right.
You're making it more difficult for
Yeah,
yourself,
I'm not.
but yeah.
I'm not smart.
And it's just cool to see kind of where you come from, where your roots are, and where you end up. And who knows, like, what the future is. I mean, Chris is in an incredible spot where he gets to have that head janitor title
Yeah.
tacked on / owner of his own spot and making incredible beer. And for myself to be in a position where I get to work for a major, really 22 states, Almanac, handful
Yeah.
of countries, and what I've always said, and going back again, Almanac makes incredible beer. They're better people involved
I love
from
that
day
part
one.
Of it.
And to be in an industry where there are even better people in addition to that makes, I mean, what, it's 9 o'clock almost on a Friday night and we're hanging out here chit-chatting about whatever. That's pretty rad.
The stupid
And I'm
happenstance.
technically like on the clock.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
you're getting paid to do this. Well,
you
at least
can't
one of us
really
is.
argue for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like today, I was like, how did I start doing this? And I remembered that I was at a beer week event, and this guy's like, hey, I like talking to you.
Yeah.
And I know all these brewers. We're going to go talk to all these brewers. And then I was like, so I met all these guys like 7 years ago. I met all these brewers. And then like, one of my friends was like, you should do a beer podcast. And I was like,
Why not?
I have connections. I have a few connections. I have people who can vouch for me when I go to another brewery. But it's like, that was 4 years before I even started. They're like, hey, here's people
insane.
you can know. And it's like super stupid.
Time is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Where you think back on where you were X amount of years and where you end up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally going from bartender at a brewery tap room to regional sales manager.
I went
going from marketing and events to
owning a brewery.
owning your
in
own
South
spot
Lake.
in
Yeah.
the same amount of time.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah. Like 7 hours from where you ended up. You're like, I was just selling beer, and now I'm owning a place hours and hours away.
It's great.
I went from being a regular at Sam Horn's Tavern to a guy who does this now.
I remember working, like, being in a weird spot in life where it's like, okay, what is my future? And ending up, because I was a server for so long, working at a brewery that had food in a restaurant, and I would see the sales reps come in. I would see the sales managers have their meetings, and I go, wait, you're telling me your job is to go around and promote a brand that you're stoked on like all the time? Sign me up. How do I get that?
Yeah.
Turns out it takes a lot. Like, it's not just like, I like beer, I will be a sales rep.
Yeah.
No, like, you got to earn your way up, and it's passion is one thing. It's great, but
knowledge, very important.
You got to have some experience.
And you got to, I don't know about this, but for customers, they want a good person to talk to. You can't be like some like robotic, awful human being.
Absolutely.
Be a sales rep.
Yeah. Nobody likes awful human beings.
I mean, I've known you for 3 minutes, and it's kind of how I feel about you, Laine, but like...
we're on the fence still.
No.
Yeah. but it's been great. And you figure it out along the way, and you do your homework, and you put in the time and effort and energy, and you bounce around as you need to, and good things happen. Like, I'm stoked where I'm at, and I've jumped around a lot to get here.
Now, when you say, so you're a regional sales manager. What is your region? What is a region in beer for Almanac Brewing?
Great question. I am based in Sacramento. Technically, I go from Napa, St. Helena to the west, all the way to Tahoe in the east. I go as far north as Chico, all the way down to Fresno.
Yeah.
In terms of my home territory, I also cover... I've been doing a lot of stuff in Arizona.
What?
Surprisingly, it's weird. My brother lives there, so I'm able to kind of save the company some money by staying with him.
That's why they let you do it.
Yeah. But it's been great. We've been doing this Imperial Stout called Boost that rather than like a hazy IPA that rotates its hops every batch, we're actually doing an Imperial Coffee Stout that rotates a coffee roaster every batch. And we were able to work... Every batch.
Not season. Every batch.
Yes. We might do a couple with one company.
But you might get different beans, for instance? Okay.
Yeah, different varietals. My brother is actually the chief education and quality control manager for Press Coffee in Phoenix, Arizona. And so we were able to take 50 pounds of their coffee recently and kind of do a brother-to-brother collaboration-ish beer.
Yeah. A little family boost.
Yeah, family boost.
Yeah.
And that's been awesome. It's cool to be able to tie in his industry and mine into something that's more than us.
Yeah.
And to be able to then go back to Arizona, I fly back down there, second week of February to go and sell it and do some events for Arizona Beer Week. And it's been fun.
Yeah.
Chris, so wear a lot of hats.
Chris, do you have any family here currently? Are you working with family in other regions?
Actually,
I knew it.
My wife, co-owner of South Lake Brewing Company, is running the booth right now, and she's probably wondering where I'm at.
Right.
I ran off with a full beer in hand and saw Laine in here. But yeah, it's very much a family business here at South Lake Brewing Company. My father-in-law is actually our sales manager, so he goes from South Lake Tahoe, does North Lake Tahoe, he goes all the way to Santa Cruz, actually.
Oh man,
and that's about as far as we go. So yeah, it's all self-distributed. We've got a refrigerated van that we do. It's a family business now.
Yeah, I should tie this in. So I'm here doing this podcast tonight, but Moxa Brewing has a food combo with Localis, which just got a Michelin bib. And nice. My sister just got a job there and is serving food here tonight. So it's all just crazy. It's
a small beer world.
Well, to be fair, I was like, if you get that job, you should try to do Art of Beer so we can hang out. And then she did, and it was great. So that's very exciting. So family is a very important part, and I like that we all have a tie to a family that's here or in the area. Like you've got Arizona, but still like you work together, and now I'm technically working with my sister, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? I don't know how it works. I don't know what the definition of working with people is, but close enough.
Yeah, she's part of the industry now.
Yeah, she's stuck. What a fool.
Sucker.
Yeah. It's like, I hope you weren't thinking about making money. It's not going to happen.
It's all about the beer now.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything coming up at all, Chris? Anything you guys are doing up at...
Yeah, we're always mixing it up. We've got 4 10-barrel tanks that we're always coming up with new beers. Looking into the near future, we've been doing a lot of lagers. That's what we're kind of
I was very excited that you guys had a Pilsner on for the VIP session.
Yeah, so we canned our first lager. It's our South Lake Pilsner. Just trying to have fun with it. With the brewery and being seasonal in South Lake Tahoe, we're finally able to dedicate some time in our tanks for some lagers, and so got our South Lake Pilsner finally canned, and then we're going to a dry hopped rice lager, and then next batch is our Mexican lager that we're going to be showcasing at Cinco de Mayo, of course, because it's Taco Tuesday this year. And
fuck yeah. Oh, really?
All right. Let's jam on Cinco de Mayo, and we're always coming up with new stuff. We try to be really a big part of the community. What we do in South Lake, at South Lake Brewing Company, is we have a large tap room as far as Tahoe goes, and indoor space is very limited. So we're able to bring a lot of fundraisers through town, and bring the community together really at our tap room and brewery. And one of the big things we do is TAMBA. It's our Tahoe Area Mountain Bike Association. So one thing that brings a lot of tourism in, especially in the summer, is mountain biking, the trails, and they gotta keep them updated. They gotta make sure that the trails are cut correctly. That they do all the maintenance necessary, and they also create new trails. So we've done a Trail Builder Pale Ale with them. It's our regular offering as far as our pale ale, and that brings awareness and support to TAMBA. And so we're hopefully having a cool party for them in the spring here. And yeah, we're just trying to push kind of the local community here at the taproom.
Awesome. And where can people find you guys online, like social media wise?
Yeah, so website is southlakebeer.com. You can follow us on Instagram as South Lake Brew Co. And that's probably the best bet.
Yeah, Instagram, because beer's a beautiful art.
Yeah. You can see a lot of cool
Facebook's
pictures.
Fine. Twitter's fine. Instagram is where beer's at.
That's
right
where
now.
it's at.
Yeah,
sure.
I used to do all of them. Like, let's face facts. Instagram is where you're going to find events. It's where you're going to find the beer because it's so beautiful. Like, beer's so beautiful. I remember I did a podcast with a guy who didn't drink. He's like, I'm not sober. I drank when I was a kid. I don't really care anymore. And I was doing a podcast.
Been there, done that.
And they had made this like fruited beer, and he's like, it was like hot pink, and he's like, that's beer? I'm like, yeah, this is beer. He's like, can I try that? Like, yeah. He's like, it's okay. I'm not like a sober person. I just don't drink. So
hasn't been paying attention to
Yeah.
Instagram, huh?
seen this. Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, this is what beer is now. He's like, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's wild.
And then at Almanac, what's going on with Almanac? What are you guys
Yeah,
up to?
so we're gearing up. San Francisco Beer Week is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So being in the heart of the Bay Area, we've got a lot going on with that. We are re-releasing a fan favorite, our Bourbon Barrel Pesh. One of our highest rated beers of all time. And word on the street is that it is tasting fantastic.
Okay.
We are also doing a can release on our Hypernova. That is a hyper fruited barrel-aged sour beer with a touch of lactose. We've done 2 releases now, again, volume 2. And a lot of very excited for that one.
Yeah.
And then what I'm really excited about, kind of working this market up here, is a collaboration hazy double IPA with Moonraker.
Okay.
Yeah, we invited those guys after a good time at Great American Beer Fest in Denver this year.
Yeah.
Said, hey, we like you. Like, come hang out at the brewery and make a beer with us. So we've got a new beer called Time Bender coming out just in time for San Francisco Beer Week. It'll be available all over the place, not just the Bay Area, California only, but really, really excited for that. And then a couple other collaborations that we've recently done. We just worked with Strange Brewing in Buenos Aires to do a fruited barrel-aged sour.
I thought you were getting off the sours.
Not off the sours, but it's a huge part of what we're doing.
Right,
but
it always will be.
Correct. Yes, that is our DNA.
Yeah, I'm such a jerk.
Right. So we've got that coming out, and then we recently did a Russian Imperial Stout with a brewery from Russia.
Oh.
Not many people get to say that. So that's another fun collaboration. That's what I love about Almanac is that, it's great beer, but better people. And the fact that we're able to work with such great people to do these collaborations.
And when you're great beer with great people, you get great opportunities.
Correct. Yeah.
To do fun, weird stuff like that.
Now we need to do an Almanac South Lake collaboration down the road.
I'm totally in.
Yeah. That needs to happen.
And then where can people find Almanac?
Social media, almanacbeer.com, and then definitely all over the gram, as the kids are saying. I think the 21 and over kids. Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, all that, but definitely Instagram. Our marketing team kills it with the social media. So
is that also
definitely
Almanac
check it out.
beer?
I believe so. Yes.
Nobody ever knows. This is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Just like the panic.
Sure.
That's what the search tab is for.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Search Almanac Beer. You're going to find it.
All right, let's all get back to our families and our loved ones. Let's get out of here.
Done.
Thank you so much, Laine. I appreciate it from Almanac Brewing.
Thanks for having us.
Chris Smith, South Lake Brewing. Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
Ben.
Cheers. Welcome back to Barley to Me. I'm still your host, Ben Rice. We're still here at Art of Beer 2020. Right now we have with us Tom Jones from Hops and Props.
Hey, how are you, everybody? I'm Tom Jones from the Hops and Props at the Aerospace Museum of California. We got a great event coming up on Saturday, April 25th, 2020, 2 to 6 p.m. at the Aerospace Museum of California Craft Beer Invitational. This is our second annual event, and it was a ton of fun last year. We had flyover aircraft and helicopters and people hanging out under the wings of planes with World War II aviators and triple aces. It was really fun. So come on out, get your tickets at aerospaceca.org, and Hops and Props is the name of the event. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tom. And with us, old hat, friend of the podcast, it's Jack Alexander from Burning Barrel.
How's it going?
So good.
I'm not going to talk as much. We just make beer.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's the best part.
And then very special guest, new to the podcast, it's Jared Long.
What's up? What's up?
How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, what are you up to in the world?
I don't know what I do quite yet at
Yeah.
Game Glory, but I do something.
In transition.
TBD.
Yes, TBD, NGB.
Good answer.
Yeah, I'm on it. FRB, we're doing it all. Yeah.
I work
So-
for beer.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a brewer.
Yeah, I show up.
Well,
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, somebody hands you a check and you're like, all right, we're doing this now. Yeah, it's fine.
Makes the liquid flow.
Yeah. It's really, we're here for beer. And there's an art to it, I heard. Is
Yes.
there any truth to that rumor, that there's art of beer?
Well, I
The
guess
elder
that's
statesman?
subjective. Yeah. We like to think so.
Yeah, and you guys are crushing it.
Yeah,
Over
we've
Burning
been
Barrel.
very fortunate. You know, people coming by the booth here tonight and just saying, we love your spot. We love your spot. We love your beer. I'm like, thank you, man. Just feel very blessed to be, where we are and embraced by the local craft beer community.
Yeah. And you're still making tables? You're still making...
I'm still making tables. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I'm a wood hoarder. So if I got a barn with so much wood in it, you can't even walk. Just keep cranking.
It's amazing. I love going there. It's so good. Like, I had pretty good expectations considering your crew. And I'm like, every time I'm like, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And I had pretty high expectations.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah. I don't get there enough.
You don't. Shame on you.
But
You're dead to me.
That's fair. I'll just point out that I'm a busy man. My time is limited, and I hate it. Because I think we've talked about this before. I used to have to drive by you guys to get home all the time, and now I live in Roseville. And
You
it's
didn't
like-
come much then either. So.
Well, no, because I'd already moved. But like, I used to hit up American River and Claim Steak, and then I moved to
Oh,
Roseville like an idiot. The worst mistake I've made in my life. And I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
We've listened to this podcast. I've made mistakes. But moving to Roseville, by far the worst thing I've done.
50 corridor is good.
Oh, yeah. We got it going on.
Yeah. I miss it because that was my path. I'd go from Folsom to Midtown, and I had to go through Rancho.
Yep.
And you just pop off that Sunrise exit, and you got delicious, delicious beers. 3-4
Thank you.
spots.
We try.
Yeah, but I don't get to do that. I have to make a special trip, and it's the worst. I don't get to go anywhere. I hate it.
Can't help you.
I can't help you.
Gotta move.
So all I can do is be like, hey, they're great. You should go. I can't, but other people should go, and I'll tell them that. Jared, you make spectacular beer.
Oh, thank you.
So how? What's your trick?
What's my trick? A number of muses. I don't know. I don't have a solid answer for that. I mean, where I look for inspiration is really other breweries. I feel like there are so many good brewers in this country. I mean, so when I started 10 years ago, there was only 1,000 of us. It was kind of unique to be a head brewer at a brewery. That's no longer the case. And I think the overall quality has unquestionably been lifted. And so I really look to inspiration at a number of other breweries. And we are super fortunate in the Sacramento area to have a number of exceptional brewers.
Yes.
it's kind of finding that inspiration in other places and making it your own, right? So I know what I like. That's sort of what reins me in, and that's how I go about it.
Yeah, because it is kind of a copycat business, but also you have to put your own spin on it. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing something that you believe in, it becomes inauthentic, right? You become the Applebee's of brewing, which is not something I'm really interested in doing. I think, I mean, we're all copying one another to a certain extent. I mean, there's only so many original ideas out there, and the landscape is such that you can think of the craziest shit, and someone has probably done that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what has to be your guiding vision is something that's authentic to you, right? You have to know what you stand for. So for me, what that means is beers that you can have more than one of. I mean, that's the best measure I've found of a beer is if I put this in front of you, would you order a second one? And that might seem oversimplified, but that's always been the best metric for me, more than Untapped or any other thing like that. Would you have a second one?
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite thing on Untapped is when people will give it like a 2-star review, like, I don't like stouts. It's like, that's not a review. That's not.
Why did you order it?
But of the stouts you've had, how does
I
it
gotta
stack
get
up?
my stats. I gotta get
How does it
checked
stack
in.
up to other stouts that you've had? Like, just if you don't like stouts, you don't. How does it compare to the stouts you hate? Is it better than most of the stouts that you've had? That's how you should be rating it, is based on what it is. Like I used to do music reviews. If I got an acoustic artist, I was like, yeah, I know what I'm going to get, but how does it stack up to other acoustic? I'm like, it's not going to be as good as a really rad metal album that's really technical. It's never going to be that good, but it's still what it is. And
So what were your top 5 albums of 2019?
So here's the thing. When I got into this beer podcast thing, I fell off music super hard. But I will say a lot of my favorite artists did put out albums. I don't know album names anymore. Pig Destroyer put out a head-crushing album. Love Pig Destroyer. Used to be called Cop Killer. Apparently not allowed to call that. So like Pig Destroyer. There we go.
Yeah, probably not the best idea.
I think the album's called Head Cage. Great. I'm a little. It's a little political, but I think their track "Army of Cops" one of the best tracks of 2019. Killer. And then one of my favorite bands of all time is Ocean Size. It's the 6-piece band from Europe, out in England, but they all broke up because one person couldn't handle their heroin or whatever, so that's what happens with music. So they broke up, and now their lead singer, Mike Venart, has an album, a solo project just called Venart, and he put out his second album, and it's incredible. And sticking to the political thing, he has, what is it? Immortal Soldiers. Great thing. It's mostly like psychedelic art rock, and he's a master. Just like so many layers to the music. Yeah. That's one of my favorite albums. Linda Martini, which is a Portuguese band, put out a new album. Killer stuff. I love them. They're very My Bloody Valentine, if you're into that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. 80s shoegaze stuff. It's so good. I don't know. I love so many things.
You're a lover.
I do. I just
I
appreciate so many things, but I'm also way off. My favorite band of all time, Failure, put out a new album this year. They broke up for 20 years and came back. So I think 16 years they broke up. Then they came back and put out new albums. Anyway, Failure?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Space rock band.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic Planet, one of the best albums of all time. Check it out, 1997. Wonderful. And again, couldn't handle their heroin. 2 of them couldn't handle their hair, of the 3. So that they're like, maybe we stop being a band until we get this sorted out.
Yeah, seems like a recurring weakness. Yeah.
Look, when you're an artist, here's how I feel. When you're an artist, like, people expect so much from you that you can't live that life 24/7. So you need some way to balance it. And unfortunately, a lot of people go into the drug side of it, just like because like heroin's a big old downer.
Heroin here at the Art of Beer because of all the art in the beer.
Right. Exactly. Well, the nice part about So here's the thing about beer. It's already a downer. You don't need a downer. But when you're an artist, like a musician, where like the highs are so high. You're playing for like thousands of people, and like this is the best thing ever. And then like you go home and you're just like, I'm alone.
Yeah, that's what you hear.
You know?
Walk off the stage.
It got heroin in a hurry.
Yeah.
How can I be the center of attention again? Yeah.
I don't know anybody here. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of a thing. But like the nice part about beer is like you could be a rock star, but it's like an even, consistent hit. You know, just a constant tapping of the veins. So it's totally fine. Yeah, it's just a nice buzz the whole time, and beer's already a downer, so you don't need something to crash you. This is fun. What did we do? What have we done? Don't ever ask me about music again. It is very good music, and it's very positive, even though the drug stuff and politics notwithstanding. Those are just the albums are great, regardless of what those songs are about. They're great music,
and whether or not the people are still alive and stuff.
Because honestly, Pig Destroyer, they're just riff masters. They write so many riffs for like their songs like 2 minutes long, and there's like 5 killer riffs in each one. And I'm like, how do you come up with this many riffs this quickly? It's crazy. Anyway, Jared,
Jared.
Yeah, you started this. What are your albums of 2019? That's what we're doing there. We're going to do. It's 2020.
I mean, I'm a Kanye fan, so even though the latest Kanye album was like a departure from what he's done in the past, I was a huge fan. Beyond that, nothing really sticks out to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the fun thing I like about music is like it's such a weird catch because you're like, oh, this album's the same as last time, and you're like mad, but then like this isn't like last time, and you're mad about it too. What are artists supposed to do? Do you ever feel that kind of pressure when you're in beer, where like people expect the same thing over and over again? You're like, no, I'm a professional.
I think we've trained our customers to not expect the same thing every time. So people come in and are like, what's new, right?
Yeah.
Which is usually everything. If it's been a couple of weeks, so
yeah.
You know,
that's my favorite thing about beer by far is like you go in there and there's a few standbys because you most of the time have them.
Yeah, we don't have any standby.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
If there's we might repeat a word because it's similarly themed. You know, like dank.
Yeah.
If we have a dank invader or dankness attacks, if it says that, it's probably a big double West Coast, but recipe's totally different.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's kind of where beer's going, where you kind of don't repeat the.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be like, oh, I just love this one beer.
Although it kind of sucks, right? You spend all that time on the label art and all that stuff, and it's like a one and done, right? So you know, versus places that can go and they create a label and they can use it over and over and over again, and then the tap boards, and then we don't distribute, so we don't have the pressure to have the same beer over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So, but you know, it's fun, but it also is a challenge to always have it be different.
Yeah, but it has to make work exciting to walk in and be like, what are we doing today?
Oh, that part's awesome, you know, and just like, what's this hop combo? And it's not just a tweak of the same base recipe either. It's usually, you know, starting somewhat from scratch with each recipe.
Strip it down to the studs.
Yep.
Build it
so
back
it's
up.
not just a pivot off of the same recipe.
Yeah.
God, and that's one of the toughest things for me as a brewer is that as a consumer of beer, I appreciate the same thing done over and over again. I'm mad
The craft
respect for that. Oh, I love it.
To be able to do it and have it taste the same.
Totally. And I
that's
used to be
tough.
one of those consumers like, man, I always want to try something new, but I don't know if it's an age thing or what it is, but I find something that I like, and I don't not need to sleep around on that. Right? I know what I like. I do this. And yet, you're totally right. From a consumer perspective, what they want is something new every single time.
Yeah.
And I think a big challenge with that is I would argue there are very few brewers in this country who are capable of spinning something new every single time and having a portfolio where all the beers have their individual identity and you hit it out of the park every single time. I think that's a really difficult
Yeah, I
subset.
don't think you can.
Excellence.
You know, some of them. It's funny because I don't know if it was you I was talking to earlier, but you have some beers and you're like, I hate this beer. I almost to the point where like, maybe we should dump this beer. It's just the combo is weird, and then you put it out there and people are like, oh my god, this is incredible. I'm like, maybe my palate's a little different than everybody else.
Right.
And I don't know how to rectify that.
Yeah, I don't know if you do. Yeah,
Yeah, especially as a brewer, like it's like you're not proud of what you made, but people are giving you feedback on it, and you're like,
well, I think you're proud of the quality, and the ingredients are top notch. There's no flaws in it. It's just a weird combo of flavors that you didn't expect it to end up that way. And then it's technically a good beer. It's just not something that I would
go back
order.
to.
But people, it's like, when are you going to bring that beer back? It's the best beer I've ever had. It's like,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How high were you when you had that?
But like the reality is every beer drinker's different, That's why beer has evolved as it is. Otherwise we'd all be drinking reds and pilsners, which honestly I will do.
And we did that for 100 years.
Yeah. Yep. And now we're like, what's new and what's exciting? And it's beautiful because you don't know what's going to be popular with a person. And the nice part about beer is like there's a beer for everybody.
Yep.
It's the most democratic thing possible.
Well, it's a wonderful time to be a beer drinker, and I think, particularly in Sacramento, I mean, there's so many, as you were saying, Jared, there's so many good beers now, and there's so many good brewers, and the bar is very high, so we're very lucky to be able to go almost, any place in town and get a beer that's nice, that, is unique in some way, or just, it's done well.
Yeah. I feel like the more I travel, the more... It's weird. You think, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to other towns, I'm going to find these beers, I'm going to love these beers, and I'll drink a beer and be like, I can get this better at home, And it's super weird to think that when there's people like San Diego is one of the best beer scenes, Chicago, all these places are wonderful beer scenes, Bend, Oregon, and then you go there and you're like, it's pretty good, but I can get a better one.
Yeah,
close to home, and that's nobody cares except you. I'm like, no, come to my town. I'll show you what beer is. It's very cool and very strange.
Well, it's a wonderful thing, right?
Yeah, and I think you just have this expectation. You go to some place like, oh, this is a beer town, right? And so it's like you go around and it's like, yeah, they're good, but it's not like it used to be 10 years ago where it's like, oh my God, this is incredible. Now it's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah,
but I could go to any place around Sac and find equivalent quality beer, so it's not like it used to be. No. That's what I mean. I think it's a good time to be a beer drinker.
Yeah.
It is, and I agree with everything that was just said. And yet,
but also,
I think there's something that's sort of, I'm trying to search for the right word. I don't know, the part of that saddens me is that I find it is a lot harder to wow people.
Yes.
I ask people so often, what is the last beer you had that made you say, oh my God? And people struggle to answer that question. And I find that to be sort of a regrettable outcome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, as a general rule, all of us are making way better beer.
Yeah. It's exciting, but no one's excited.
Totally, right? It's hard to shock people,
yeah.
Man. I mean, I can put the weirdest fucking thing in my beer that you can think of, and that's just like, oh, okay. So you did that? Yeah. I don't know. It's just not... It's really hard to impress people anymore.
Yeah.
And if you take the opposite approach, which is I'm just going to step up and I'm going to nail this style. I'm going to make the textbook extra special bitter, right?
Yes.
It's hard to get people's attention.
Yeah.
So I find that
what are the adjuncts
challenge
in this beer? It's like there's none.
It's like none.
What?
This is an EST.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You didn't put 50 pounds of vanilla in this thing?
Yeah. What kind of work are you doing with these nuts? Did you crack these nuts? Did you roast these nuts? Did you splinter these nuts? Or did you just give a whole nut in there?
How many nuts per barrel?
Yeah.
Cruelty-free nuts. That's what we're into now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I think we can all agree on that. Do you want this, by the way? This is a special from Urban Roots.
That's tasty.
It's no big deal. They did a special pour for this little VIP thing where they do the bell, and they poured everything but 2 bottles. So 1 bottle is in this room, and 1 bottle is at their little spot.
It's very
coconut
good.
in there?
It's very
Yep.
good.
This is a Devil's Run Imperial Stout, coconut and vanilla, maybe something else. Jack, you got the bottle. I haven't read it in a while, but yeah, that was very cool. Peter's like, hey, just take this in the room. I'm like, nice. He's like, there's only 2 bottles in this entire building. I'm
Awesome.
like, fuck yeah.
The
So
palate of a chain smoker, so it's like I could pick up the coconut. That's about it.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the same thing also. Like, depending on what you're eating and what you're doing with your life, your palate's different. So, like, the beer that somebody loves, you don't like because it's... Like, my girlfriend's bitter blind, but still loves IPAs. I don't know how that works. But it's just... it's a weird world.
You know, I gotta say, you guys are experts in all this. I'm a museum director, okay? And I love beer. I loved beer for, I don't know, 40 years, I guess. I'm 57 now, so about 40 years.
Yes.
And I gotta say, there are all of your breweries are fantastic. I actually took a team of people out. We put on our first Hops and Props last year, and we all hopped in this guy's Uber and drove all over town. We hit 12 breweries in one day. It was a fun ride, and we just had a good time. Went around, saw everybody. I learned a lot about breweries. I learned a lot about what you do, and I sympathize with where you're at. I mean, it's tough. It's got to be a tough market. One of my good friends is Mike Ryan down at Claim Steak, and I love your beer. You guys are right there in the neighborhood, and I live in Gold River, and I got to tell you, man, that area down 50, we got you guys and Claim Steak and Fort Rock, and we got some great breweries down there. So.
We spent many a night at the Claim Steak building up Burning Barrel.
Yeah. Brian and Mike.
Yeah,
and
they did a can
Tina,
release, and when we were building out the inside of the brewery, we literally had 30 cans in a row of the empties as we do the work for the day and then drink a couple cans.
It's just a cool community, and I appreciate what you do, and I thank you for we're trying to glom onto this in support of the museum. But at the same time, I have really come to appreciate what you're doing, and I thank you.
And that's the crazy thing. We all like one another.
Yeah,
right? I mean, so from a consumer perspective, it's great, right?
Absolutely.
There's so many beers to choose from. If you have a bad experience somewhere, why would you ever go back to that place again?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't as a consumer.
There was a couple places that I wouldn't go back to, right?
Totally. And let's be real. We're all very much in competition with one another. And yet, man... We all hug one another when we show up to these things. We genuinely like one another.
Oh, yeah.
We're lending one another ingredients, and I don't know. I think there's something magical about that and unique to our industry.
And I love the collaborations that you're doing. All of you guys are doing these cool collaborations. Mike was doing them with guys in Taiwan and all these just amazing work that you do. And please keep it up. It's great for the community.
Yeah, it's an interesting
I think Sacramento
industry.
is probably, I don't know, maybe the epicenter for what we're into here. So
it's one of these. I think a lot of 10 years ago, again, using that kind of random number, but if you look back, it was not on the national scene, and the numbers of breweries per capita in the Sac Metro versus other metropolitan areas much lower. But in regards to how we're all partners, I spent most of my life in high tech, and that's not only competitive, it's cutthroat. So you want to knock the guy down, and then when he's down, you kick him.
Hundreds of millions of dollars every year versus like, hey, we need to get our barrels up to like 25,000.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
It's totally different. If something breaks, like a piece of machinery breaks, or you're missing an ingredient, or anything. It's like you just put out, you just reach out on social media and say, hey, we need anybody have this? Like we had a crowler machine break, and we put out there, and they go, yep, we got a spare part. Come on down. So I mean, that wouldn't in high tech it'd be like, screw you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Like, good luck. I'm glad you're down. Like,
exactly.
It's like, oh, are you limping? I'm going to break your leg.
Pounce.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I was talking about this earlier today. The issue is like with craft beer, you never know who's drinking it for the first time. And you need to make a good impression. And like,
true.
Like if somebody hates a beer you make, Jack, they're not going to go over
Shame
and
on
check
them.
out. Well, yeah, So let's face facts. They're probably wrong.
Yeah, they're probably deranged or
Yeah.
no taste. There's some
They're
flaw
clearly wrong.
we just haven't found yet.
Right. I mean, they're probably wrong. But at the same time, if they don't like a beer that you make, they're not going to go check out Jared's beer. If it's the first time experiencing craft beer and they don't like what you did, they're not going to give a...
True, yeah, if they dare to stray from whatever they're used to.
Yeah. So you have to do that because you know that giving you a pound of hops today gets a customer in your door tomorrow. It's a very important, because it's a weird world, because every day is an education, every day is a new customer.
Yep.
And when someone's like, I've been drinking Bud my whole life, and now I'm going to try one beer and it's bad, they're never coming to anybody again. So you have to do that. And the friendship part is always going to overrule the competition side. Hopefully. Ideally.
I think so. I think when there's too many breweries than drinkers, then things could change, right?
Yeah.
There's always, hey, it's a competitive market, so that can happen.
Yeah.
But right now we're still in a point where compared to other areas, there's still a little room.
Yeah.
But with economic downturn or just
lifestyle changes,
too many,
oversaturation.
Costs a lot of money to start a brewery. So if, a few too many start up, then people that leverage themselves or who knows, just not brewing what the public wants at that time, they start going out, it could definitely change the flavor of the industry, or at least for that place. So
and
it's not immune from market forces.
Oh,
but
no.
It's
sure. Like you see a brewery that's really good that overexpands themselves too quickly, and then they're so in debt to do that they fail, despite the fact that they have quality beer. Like it's such a weird game of like, I'm doing pretty good. I'm gonna put one more foot forward, and they're like, oh, actually, there's no ground there. Bad news. Like that one step, what you should have done, like a little shuffle, but you did a full step like an idiot. Like it's such a weird, volatile industry. Yeah. Despite the fact that it feels robust.
I don't know that it's weird or volatile. It's just it's another industry. And it's subject to the exact same forces. But luckily, it's something that we know and we love, and it does happen to breed congeniality and cooperation, it just does by the nature of it and the history of it, the legacy of it. But it'll ebb and flow just like anything else. You know.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of a sea change. We had national brands, and then regional, then local, and it's now like pretty big local. Let's go back to regional, and there's like a little bit of pushback. It's a lot of fun. This is This is just rambling about all the terrible things that are.
No, but I think you're touching on an interesting thing, which is that on the one hand, as craft brewers, we're expected to remain relevant, and we have to brew what people want to drink. I get that for obvious reasons, right? Yeah. We're business after all.
Self-preservation.
And yet, it's a fine line between pandering to what the customer wants and maintaining your personal integrity, right? If you asked a chef who is passionate about making Italian food to make tacos tomorrow night, I'm guessing the tacos aren't going to be very good. Right? So I think it's one of the biggest challenges right now that we all face is how do you stay relevant, and yet how do you maintain your integrity and do what it is that you truly
and differentiate yourself somewhat,
right. Yeah. Please don't open another brewery that just does something that someone else is already doing. I don't get the point to that.
Yeah. You can always smell when it's there for the money. You can always tell it. It's in the glass. You're like, this is here for money. They saw that IPAs are a cool thing. It's all hazies. They're not that great. It's like, you can tell. I can always tell when there's like, this is just a money-driven business. And I'll just say, we all need to leave. This is a valid point. We should all leave. I think this event is over. We should probably all leave. Yeah.
Let's go have a final beer on the floor.
Yeah. Jared Long, thank you so much. Get out of here. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure having you. I'm trying to get you on, and I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Jack Alexander, lovely to see you again from Burning Barrel.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
And Tom Jones, thanks so much. Quick plugs, places to follow you guys online to get your information. What are we doing?
Facebook, Instagram are the way we normally do it, man.
Burning Barrel Brew.
Yep, Burning Barrel Brewing Company.
Yep, there we go. And what about tickets for Hops and Props? Where are we getting them?
All right, Hops and Props at aerospaceca.org.
Bam. All right, that's it. Everybody go home. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, man.
Get a beer. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That was fun. Thanks.